What's up, guys? This is David with Sounds Like NYC, and I'm not with Bruce today because he had to do his taxes, but I'm here with a much more handsome, much more talented Ing.
Oh, hello.
Step closer, Ing. I'm not going to bite.
Yes,
Come on.
yes, of course.
What's going on? And here we have our buddy Jeff. Tell us a
What's
little more,
going on?
Jeff.
How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Amazing.
Good.
Great day.
Beautiful day.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
a beautiful view here at WeWork.
Oh, you're plugging them in already, us? So, yeah, tell us a little about yourself, Jeff. What do you do?
Well, I'm a writer, a painter, and a filmmaker. I'm making a film right now, which I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm.
And we are almost done with everything. As a matter of fact, the post work is almost done, and the composer right now is working on the score to finalize everything. And we're aiming to be done with this film at about late April. I'm thinking.
And what's the name of the film?
It's going to be called The Perception of Time.
Okay.
And it's a very different type of process because before I started filming this, one of the big projects that I worked on and still am working on in terms of getting it out there is I'm looking to create and develop a TV series about an actual artist, two artists in New York. And I've had several meetings with different networks and agencies and all that stuff. But basically what I did was instead of just writing the pilot, I wrote the entire season. So it's 500 pages that I have written. So it was a long process to do this. So after I was done, and like I had published a couple books too in this period of time, and I just wanted to get away from the written word almost. So what I started doing is I just grabbed my brother's camera because my brother is a DP and a professional videographer. I grabbed his camera and just started shooting because I just wanted to create a visual of something. So what was cool about the film is the more I was filming, the more the story informed itself, where it's usually reversed for me, obviously. You sit down, you write, and then you go from there.
Right.
This time it was let me film and let the film write itself. So as I kept going along, it just kept developing more and more. So it is an abstract idea. It is an abstract film, but it does have a coherent storyline, which is basically this kind of essentially this cleaner, quote, like an Airman Trout type of character from Breaking Bad gets out of prison and has to do two last jobs. That's the foundation of the story. The real abstract existentialist idea of it is what's the true definition of incarceration to this guy? You know what I mean? Is it life in prison or is it work after prison?
Right.
That's what the real storyline. Yeah. So that's the big project right now. And basically I've been filming over a 4.5 month period. I've been filming this thing 32 days throughout that period so far. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Like, what brought you to this concept?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What brought you this concept? Like, why this?
So weirdly enough, again, like I said, I just wanted to go film something, but the thing that was inspiring to me was, have you ever heard of the film Jeanne Dielman by Chantal Ackerman?
I haven't.
It's cool. It's totally different. It's 1975 French film by the great director Chantal Ackerman. And essentially, it's on paper a 3.5 hour film or like 3 hour film, roughly something like that, of this woman just doing chores around the house.
Right.
That's really it on paper. What it is also throughout the film, to provide for herself and her child, she accepts Johns into her home, and she's a prostitute. But it's done very, very structured, and the prostitution end of this film has very little to do with the actual feeling of it and the storyline of it. It just shows another part of her day. At any rate, watching Ackerman's filming style, the actual style of that film inspired me to just pick up the camera and stylize something in a similar way. Now, as my film developed, it got further and further away from that because I also drew from other inspirations like Godard and Jim Jarmusch and people of that nature. So, but that was kind of the driving force at the beginning, was this this film Gene Dealman, to just kind of get out and shoot something, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny how that happens. Every now and then you just watch something or hear something and it sparks something that it was just in the ether, you know, perhaps you just want to grab onto it. So that was it for me, for this project at least. Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was wondering, you said you were a painter as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think your process translates into filmmaking?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. What's funny is that because I'm an abstract painter, so in terms of sketching out, I rarely ever sketch out anything with literature or film. I mean, like I won't lay out a blueprint. With literature, obviously, you write draft after draft, and with screenplays too. But in terms of storyboarding, I don't really storyboard. I don't do anything like that. But I do think with a canvas, you have the two things that you can relate to painting and film. I think the framing of it, you know what I mean? Because obviously you're framing up a certain painting in a certain style on the canvas. And then you also have the color and the tonality of it. So playing with the colors, it's almost like if you watch a Wes Anderson film, you know the colors, you know the color schemes, you know that the director before you even see the name on it. You know what I mean? So I think painting helps out with the color schemes and kind of getting your eye in the right focus, perhaps. You know.
Here's a question that I was thinking about. How do you feel your art is? I guess you internally, do you feel it's more genuine when you're more methodical and thought out about it, or when you're just like winging it?
I think that's a good question. I think it's in between, honestly. I think there's something to be said about spontaneity that is just a unique capture. It's very different when you have something. But the thing I feel about spontaneity is proper spontaneity cannot develop without a proper base. If you're ill-equipped, if you're unprepared, I think spontaneity is not the best thing to have, because you need that base of information, that base of knowledge going into your project to understand if I can break left or break right on something. I hear it a lot with younger actors, or not a lot, but there was one actor in particular I knew that never liked to prepare for auditions and thought, I'm just going to go in there cold and I'm just going to wing it and be good at improv. And there's like a handful of people in this world that can do that. Very, very few people are. It's all about intelligence. Are smart enough to read the room, hear the script, and jump off that and create a story there. So what I'm saying is the best improvers come to the room prepared. They know the scene. They know what's needed. They know the environment, but they still leave a little bit for themselves to lean on spontaneity. So I think you have to find the proper mix of both, is a meticulous nature and a willingness to be like, okay, I can roll with the punches,
Right. So I
think that's a really cool thing. I was just going to say, I think that's a really cool thing with directors, because one of my favorite directors is Paul Thomas Anderson. He's known for his meticulous nature, but I also believe that he's very open to a certain degree of like, oh, you know what, this isn't working. Let me collaborate. Let me listen. What could work better in this scene? So his openness to a collaboration, to a little bit of a spontaneity, is helpful for his projects. So if you can get both, it's the best of both worlds.
So maybe like to use a spontaneous nature to art, it can't be all spontaneous. It has to be to some level of it. It has to be thought out, or else it's just chaos.
Right, like having your palettes and brushes all ready to go, not just because that takes also really long time. Yeah, like just having your brushes and mixed colors all ready to go.
Yeah, that's the biggest pain in the ass with painting. Set up, and then the biggest pain in the ass is the cleanup after.
That's it.
You don't want to do anything. You're happy, hopefully, and and you're just like, I got to get out of this room, and you're like, shit, I have like 80 paint cans to clean up. I have to mess everywhere, and it's a shame. I think as a painter, you have like an ego thing where it's like one day I want to get to the point where I could have an assistant and
to
just
clean
to
up your shit.
Up.
Yeah. Are you from New York?
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay, you're from New Jersey.
Yeah.
When you move to here?
A few years back. I mean, I lived in Central Jersey, and I started working in TV. I started working at Nickelodeon when I was 17. An internship. I got hired when I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was bouncing back and forth between Jersey and New York frequently, and then I officially moved in when I met my girlfriend, now wife, and we live in Brooklyn now.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. How do you think? Yeah.
It was just we were always where I lived in Jersey. It was always like an hour at most away from the city, so it was right there, you know.
Yeah. Plus, it smells like shit over there, right?
You gotta get off the parkway. It's nice off the parkway.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been out there a couple times. It's okay. It's definitely okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming from a New Yorker, that's a compliment.
I'll take that. Yeah.
So how do you feel New York City has like altered your art, if any?
That's a good question.
I don't know. You know what? I've thought about this. I wonder, because the best way I can answer that is I wonder how much my art would be altered if I moved away. Because being in it, it's tough to gauge. I do know that I think, man, I don't know. I don't want to sound weird here, but I think a New York writer or New York artist has a certain level of edge to them. Has a certain,
of course,
unidentifiable edge that that is often potent. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know.
It's a flavor. It's a flavor.
Flavor. Yeah.
For sure. Like, what characteristics though can you point to like right now that you're like, oh, that's just because I'm from New Jersey, New York. You know what I mean? Like, is there anything? You know what I mean? Like something that comes in you. You know what I mean? Like.
I suppose it's a willingness to jump into things. I think that's like an East Coast thing, a New York thing, like a willingness to just dive head in.
Like not give a fuck.
Yeah, not give a fuck. And then also, like, again, the fact that working in TV and doing the March Madness thing over at CBS, I think a certain characteristic I've had for the past month is anger. I'm just fucking angry. And it's just because it's long days and just stressed out or whatever. But it's funny. There's like again, it might be a New York thing. It might not be. But there's a certain time where it's like you have this like explosion of anger.
Oh, yeah.
And then like 5 seconds later, you're like, it's cool. I'm all right. No worries. You know what I mean? It's like schizophrenic.
No,
what
for
the
sure.
fuck is happening?
Yeah. I get you, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to add before we go?
No, basically, I mean, thanks for having me on. The one thing I should mention is the latest project that's like officially out is my book called 3 of a Kind.
Okay.
And it is a collection of my paintings, short stories, and poetry. So it's like a big collection of kind of like my different things going on. And it's on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all bookstores or whatever. But
we'll link that shit up. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We'll link.
What happened?
We'll link that shit up. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. Right.
That shit.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Awesome, man. It was really fun having you. Thank you also, Ing, for subbing.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
You too. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome.
Right on.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.